Mr. Ross Flitney, former Barnet goalkeeper, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
That's very, very good of you. I appreciate you sharing your time because there's a specific incident going back 20 years now that I'd like to talk about, and I can see your face, your eyes welling up already. October 2005,
Yeah.
Barnet were drawn to come to United in the League Cup. So I suppose let's start at the beginning. Do you remember when the draw was made?
Uh, I th Vaguely. I mean, I might even be making this up. I don't think we were all together as like waiting for the draw or anything like that. I think I was sort of home with the family, parents and stuff. And obviously, this was sort of really before WhatsApp groups and stuff like that. So it was kind of a few texts, a few phone calls between the players, and then we spoke about it. Um, or that sort of rings a bell. It may even been that might have been the evening, and the draw might have been in like the Monday afternoon. Maybe we were still training, but yeah, it was. It's the best draw you can get in sort of English football, really, for any player at any level. I think.
Had you been to Old Trafford before?
No, no, and never since.
Never since. Right.
No,
Okay.
never been back. Yeah, I will do. But yeah, no, I've not. I hadn't been there, hadn't sort of viewed a game there, hadn't played there. So it was exciting, obviously.
So when you get there, I'm assuming like the coach on the way up is absolutely buzzing for the occasion.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we trained the morning before, and in preparation for that, the manager Paul Fairclough got some. You sort of laugh at it then, but when you look back, it was quite clever. We trained at our ground, and over the tannoy system, he had some recordings of Old Trafford live, and it was deafening at our sort of 6,000 seat stadium. So just trying to communicate on the pitch with 10 players with no one else in the stadium was difficult. So you kind of got a sense of just how enormity the noise was going to be and deafening. But yeah, no, I think we trained the morning before. We travelled up that afternoon, um, and obviously stayed in a hotel prior to the game. Did a bit of gym work in the morning, food, etc. Before the games on the day.
And how were you feeling personally, like in the warm up and in the tunnel?
Uh, I would love to sit here and say took it in my stride. It was all took it in, but no, I was I was nervous as hell. It was my biggest game, I guess, of my career to then to date. 21 years old. Yeah, I think any player in that team was excited. We had obviously some older pros that had played in big games, but yeah, I think I was really excited and hugely nervous, without a doubt, and wanting to really just have a great game on an unbelievable platform that it can springboard you anywhere.
In terms of a game plan for the first kind of 85 seconds, it was going all right, wasn't it? And then
Yeah, we
your
didn't
first,
concede. So yeah,
just talk me through the incident from your point of view.
um, yeah. Just thinking sort of back to it live and in the game, I don't really remember it. If I'm honest, I've seen it back on various clips and stuff. People loving to show me. Um, but yeah, I think our kind of we set our stall out to obviously we knew we were going to be without the ball for a period of time, and sort of be solid really and not chase. And I remember then keeping it across the back, and sort of diagonal come sort of straight ball across from I think their right back towards my right side corner flag. And as soon as it was kicked, I thought, oh, this is mine. I'm going to beat him. I was quite positive on that aspect, and was planning to just come and head the ball. To be honest, that bit I remember, and I remember seeing the player sort of what I remember as stop, or kind of knowing I was going to get there first. So I still think it was the right decision. I decided to kind of open my shoulders, let the ball run across me, sort of calm the situation and take it in the box. And literally, unfortunately for me, obviously, and the team, I literally just handled it a yard or two early.
I mean, did it skip up a little bit more than you anticipated,
No,
perhaps?
I just no. If I'm honest, I think obviously having my eyes on the ball and sort of seeing the players stop didn't distract me, but it made my mind up to allow it to come into the box. And I think out of sort of my peripheral vision, the the line of the D on the edge of the box, I actually think I mistook just because it was a white mark. I think I mistook it for the edge of the box. So thinking I was well in line, uh, and then even from my reaction, I remember being quite surprised that the line I was flagging, and I didn't really know. I thought at first thinking, has he flagged for offside? You know, was a bit confused. Yeah, and then sort of very quickly putting the puzzle together. For I kind of said in my head, no, there's no way I've just done that. I haven't. I haven't just done that. Surely not. But yeah, I did. So
So presumably that's the moment that you realise you're in trouble.
yeah, I mean, I knew I was going to get booked. I didn't expect to get sent off at all. Um, and if I'm honest, the whole time he was walking towards me, the referee, I was just thinking about get my four sorted for the wall.
Yep.
That's all I was thinking. I need to get this done and get the wall sorted out. Um, yeah, not expecting to be sent off.
I mean, you look at it, if you look back at the footage, your first emotion, it is kind of, I mean, there's a little bit of confusion. Then it's kind of one of anger, isn't it? Towards the linesman, towards the referee. And then it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. Yeah, no, it is. It's like, I mean, 21, being honest, not really maturely in control of emotions. Being honest, as a player,
Yeah.
uh, got very hot headed at times, which got me in trouble. But yeah, it was when I saw the red card, it was, like that big sort of wooden door being slammed in your face. It was like, ah. And to be honest, I was at the time wasn't thinking about anybody else but myself. Uh, Thinking, yeah, I'm going to miss the game basically.
I think it's quite understandable in the moment, isn't it? It's quite a quite a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was. It was like you said. I'd been released from Fulham that season, or the end of the last season, and went to Barnet, um, and was really grateful for the opportunity to play league football, and I was got in as the number one, which was I owed the manager a lot, although I didn't appreciate it at the time. They'd obviously just won the conference, or what it was back then, and then getting that draw like we did because we got to the through the rounds. And yeah, and then that happened. It was gut wrenching at the time.
Then you mentioned the manager there, obviously Paul Fairclough. He actually came onto the pitch to try and put an arm around the shoulder. He obviously recognised the magnitude of the moment. You know, I suppose it's massive credit to him to do that rather than be immediately thinking, right, okay, the team has to do this. He saw how big that moment was on an individual level, and he's there literally arm around the shoulder on the pitch.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I remember it because I shrugged him off.
Yeah.
Very, very wrong on my part, and I was never Paul's biggest fan at the time. Even meeting him, yes, and I wanted to play for him. Over the following 2 years, didn't warm to him because I probably had too much to say for myself, thought too much, didn't appreciate his experience, his knowledge, and at the time, if I'm brutally honest, didn't appreciate what he was trying to do, not only as with footballers and a team, but as to help you grow as an individual.
Mm.
He was very big into the mental side of the game, which I didn't appreciate back then, and I kind of regret that. And you had someone there that would have given you probably all of his time, and you're not going to take it all on, you're not going to like it all, but you could certainly have used it a lot more than I did. And that part of it and that instance of me shrugging him off, I kind of have always regretted that.
Again, though, just to reiterate, I think in the moment it's understandable that, like you say, you're thinking purely about yourself. It's a big moment,
Yeah.
21 years old. As you go off the pitch, when does it become about the team again in your head? Because obviously, as soon like, were you even down the tunnel when the free kick was scored by Liam Miller?
Yes, yeah, I was in the dressing room. I saw it because they obviously had the sort of TV screens in the dressing room, so I did see it. Yeah, and that just adds to the misery to the misery of it. Um, yeah, and obviously there's so many more things along that path, that story of those sort of 2 minutes that I didn't think about until after the game, and then the weeks following, the months following, when you start talking about it, and you start, rightly or wrongly, start having a joke about it. Yeah, there's so many other bits to it.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because I mean, in terms of the immediate knock-on, I think obviously your teammate, your striker, Luis Suarez, Soares, sorry, got substituted off, so that's his evening done. I mean, not to pile too much on 21-year-old Ross's shoulders, but there was a knock-on, wasn't there? And when did that sort of sink in? And I suppose how were the rest of the team with you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I eventually showered, etc. Came out and sat in the stand. So I came onto the pitch at the end of the game when um, Ian Hendon, sort of put his arm around me, took me to the fans and stuff, and that was great of him. And he was a great captain, and a genuinely nice guy. But I think it was, on the way back, you kind of had to sit on my own, just didn't want to talk, didn't want to communicate. Tried to speak to Louis on the pitch, and he wasn't interested, which, at the time, he probably got a mouthful, but looking back, I can't blame him.
How do you feel now about towards the referee, towards Richard Beebe? Because I think, just to jump in, you weren't suspended. You didn't get a suspension for it, did you?
No, because we appealed it and it got overturned the next day or 48 hours later. Yeah. No, I mean, it's well before obviously VAR and anything that's come recently. At the time, yeah, probably the most hated man in my world, but he had a decision to make. You know, as much as I probably don't like referees and never have done, I don't think there's many players that really love them. But we can't play the game without them. We need them. He has one look at it, one pair of eyes. He has one decision to make, and he's got to make it. So I suppose the laws of the game back then. Uh, if he sees the striker that could potentially score because the ball was, I don't know, getting away from me, whatever, then yeah, I guess he has to make that decision. But there's no ill feeling towards him unless you've got him on another line now or something, which would be quite interesting.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
I try and be diligent. I should have done that. Sorry. No, but
We can do that next week. But.
yeah, there you go. There you go. But having looked through the stats, I don't think he ever refereed one of your games again, to my knowledge. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, definitely didn't referee me again. No, no.
How do you think that would have gone?
It would have been all right. I think you can't hang on to the past too much. It's like I say, it's with age you get that bit of wisdom and stuff. And he had one look at it, one set of eyes, a quick reaction. I don't know. Yeah, it wouldn't have been a problem if he'd have ref me again.
Okay, very big of you. At the time, I think the immediate post-match, Sir Alex Ferguson came out and said, it ruined the game. It was the wrong decision. Did that help at all? And did you get any other support from United, either on the night or moving forward? Because obviously you might know an Edwin from Fulham, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, he was great. He came straight down to the dressing room as soon as I got there after being sent off. He was there and trying to make light-heartedness of it, really. just trying to make me feel better. He's such a nice guy. I had some great years, obviously working with him, and learned a lot from him at Fulham. And I guess, yeah, I was gutted for that because he'd obviously left. I got released, and it would have just been lovely to have a good game in front of him for someone that was such a stature in the game. But yeah, look, it wasn't to be. But yeah, going forward after the night, nothing really from United, but that wasn't their sort of place to do. But yeah, again, nice of uh, Alex Ferguson to have said that, which I remember. And it does. It probably did ruin the game. I don't know if it ruined the result, but definitely the game.
Well, it's pretty commendable, to be fair. 4-1 against, I mean, I know it was a much changed United team, but with 10 men still.
Yeah, yeah, and there was some sort of big players still in that starting 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, our boys were excellent. We had some players there that went on to have some really really good careers in the game.
And in terms of your own career, what followed? What was the next step after Barnet?
Um, I think I had a falling out with a manager, so that kind of led to me sort of being released anyway. And then I signed for Grays in the conference for a couple of years. Had a bad uh, injury at the end of the second year. I broke my arm in a tackle, uh, so was out for several months with that. Uh, then signed for Dover, I believe. Um, Spent a year and a half there with Andy Hessenthaler, who obviously I played with at Barnet, and obviously met Andy there. But it was ironic because I used to watch Andy playing for Watford with my dad. So
Right.
so it was great to sort of eventually work with him. That was brilliant. And then have him as a manager. And then he took me. He got the Gillingham job from Dover, and then took me and two other players from Dover with him to Gillingham.
Nice.
That
And
was,
in
yeah, so
terms of, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, no, that was kind of a nice. Stayed with him through that, and then we ended up at Eastleigh together as well.
And you were there for a good number of years, weren't you?
Yeah, 10 years I was at Eastleigh. Yeah.
Time served.
Yeah.
In terms of comparable occasions to like United away in the League Cup, I think you had a game at Bolton 2016. Was that as big as it got after United?
Yeah, probably. I mean, as in like stature of team, probably playing
Yeah.
against. Yeah, I mean, there was a few for Dover. We had a good cup run for Dover. I think it was the third round. I think we lost to Huddersfield. I think that was 2-1 or 2-0, something like that. And then obviously Gillingham, we had a couple of good runs in the cup. I think Sheffield United. Um, but yeah, for Dover, that was really good. That was at our place, live on TV, the FA Cup again, and the game. The game should never have been played. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the footage of it. There isn't a blade of grass on the pitch anywhere, and it's about 4 inches underwater, and it's yeah, I don't know. It's like an old-fashioned American football pitch. That's what it looks like. It's just mud, and you couldn't stand up, but they had to get the game on because it was on telly. The money the club were earning, it was all hands to the pump, get it on. But there was like 150 supporters on the pitch before the game, making it worse, not making it any better. But yeah, that was a good day, and it was my friend actually, Darren Pratley, that equalised in the last minute from a corner. So that was yeah, and then we lost the replay, I think 3-2 at their
Yeah.
place. Yeah, so yeah, but it was another good game and a good day. But yeah, unfortunately that was the biggest it got after.
Well, you didn't even get booked on that one, so that's, progress.
Yeah, I got through the game. Yeah, so it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, not to make too much light of it, because obviously it is a serious mental challenge for a 21-year-old lad. And I suppose that comes to the crux of the interview, really, is I always wondered how you made light of it or what you did with that experience going forward. And did you manage to find the positives from it?
Yeah, I mean, at the time it was tough. Confidence, he was dented, obviously. But if I'm pretty sure if saying is right, I think the manager literally put me straight in for the next game. the Saturday. So it was, there wasn't time to to dwell too long. I hadn't made an error of conceding a goal and stuff like that, or trying to do something that I shouldn't be doing. It was an honest mistake, if you like, or albeit a mistake. But no, I just constantly remember going back to a guy that I worked with at Fulham, who was called himself an MP, a guy called Watt Nichols, and he was an MP. He was a motivated person, and he came
Right.
into Fulham with under Chris Coleman and did a load of stuff with the first team, and it filtered down to the reserves and the youth team. And it was all just about motivation, the positive thinking, uh, how to put a good spin on most things. And it was just that. It was when people would take the piss, if you like, in the stands behind me, which you're always going to get the most being a goalie because you're the closest. I learned to laugh with it rather than sticking fingers up or getting angry, because the angrier I got on the pitch, the more stick I got. So I learned that very quickly, and literally from that week on that Saturday, I just remember always having a good rapport with the away fans.
Right.
So it was kind of like, yeah, it was like any stick I used to get, I used to laugh, and it might be the first one that used to come in the box and I'd catch and throw. I would always turn around and sort of go, like, trying to have a joke with them. And as soon as they start laughing, you've got them on side. No matter how good a game you have, you're gonna get on them. So yeah, it was just like that. It was just trying to take that positive spin on it. And really, I think over the past 20 years, anytime I made a mistake in a game that cost something, thankfully it wasn't too many. I know it was a lower level playing, but I felt like I played well, most weeks. I kind of used to laugh, but it wasn't a laugh as in I didn't care. That was how I dealt with it. It might be like, I can't believe I've just done that. It's like, right, okay, bury it, because you can't affect it now. And then going forward, you kind of do some coaching badges and you get involved with the coaching with the younger ones, um, which I did at EC as well for sort of 5 years with some of the academy kids, and then our younger group, 8 to 16s. Um, it was just all about, and you'd see it. I'd see kids make a mistake in training, and it's just coaching. It's just training with me and five other goalies or three other goalies, and they would sort of become despondent or fade out the session or even kick the post. And I remember doing that as a kid. I would stop the session and I would say to the group, "What's the problem? You need to get it out, deal with it, and bury it, and make a joke, and then ask the other kids, have you ever done it? Have you ever made the same mistake?" And it would be, yeah, of course I have. And then that you kind of just saw that kid, the worry, I guess, or the frustration sort of almost just disappear. And within, a couple of minutes, they're laughing and joking in the session again. So it was just not letting, at the end of the day, I know it's a job and it's careers and it means so much to so many people around the world. But at the end of the day, it's just football and it's just a job. And you've got to be able to, at some point, let go and leave it behind.
I mean, that's a beautiful answer. I love that it's about kind of paying it forward, isn't it? It's about showing that resilience, crystallizing it, and then passing it on and showing younger lads, anyone else. I'm sure it's applicable outside of football as well, in life with your family or
Yeah.
whatever, just to get through.
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it, I'm sure, and I probably did it more than most about hanging on to things in the past and uh, mistakes or a bad training session, and it was just kind of remembering the sessions with what and getting back to trying to take a positive out of everything. Every session, it might be, I don't know, just the last catch you held and held it clean. Like that's it. That's how I finished the session. So that's where I'm at. I know where I'm going. I know what I need to do. And yeah, in games, it's I didn't mature quick enough, if I'm brutally honest, to make to have a better career in the game. And I know that now. I didn't know it at the time, but getting to that maturity level to handle certain situations, games, manage games almost as from a goalie, which is tough, until I was probably nearly 30. And it's not surprising where I had my best games, longest career at one club at Eastleigh, because I was ready for it. Um, the physical side of it comes and goes as if you come against big forwards and stuff like that. But just the maturity to be able to play at ease and relax and enjoy the game rather than sort of the result being such an issue in your head sometimes. Yeah, that came a little bit later, but I never sort of got stuck on mistakes. And I wonder if that had never happened, United, what might have been obviously, but it might have been 10 times worse because I might not have learned to deal with something quite so huge in my career, which put me in good stead for the future, really.
What an answer, Ross. That's brilliant. No, that's wonderful. That's as I say, I've often wondered from frequently over the last 20 years, like what it meant to you, what it did to you, and yeah, I'm just really happy to see that it turned out that way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's again, like I said, there's definitely you could say, oh, if you had a great game and kept a clean sheet, it could have, propelled you to another club or something at high, but it didn't, and you can't worry about that for me.